over 6.5 million Americans are living with Alzheimer's. The vast majority of them are over 65 years old, and most are over 85. But a very small number of those patients, less than 1%, carry a rare genetic mutation that will cause them to develop Alzheimer's much earlier, some as young as 30. These individuals have DIAD, dominantly inherited Alzheimer's disease. Unlike other forms of Alzheimer's, the mutations that cause DIAD are passed on as dominant genes. So if a person carries a gene mutation that causes DIAD, their child will have a 50-50 chance of inheriting it. The Dominantly Inherited Alzheimer's Network Trials Unit, or DIAN TU, was established in 2011 at the Washington University School of Medicine in St. Louis. The hope is to unlock the mystery of this devastating condition.
So the mission of the DIAN TU is to try to treat Alzheimer's disease in a way to bring treatments to families who carry these mutations who've never had a way to stop the disease before.
There was nobody else that I went to school with that had this problem. So as we found out that this even existed, we absolutely wanted to volunteer, and so did my dad.
Our goals are to develop preventions for Alzheimer's disease for these families and then have that applied to everybody else.
Because DIAD is so rare, and because it's found in individuals of all races, ethnicities, and backgrounds, the DIAN TU includes researchers and patients from around the world on 5 separate continents.
That concept of a global family is the core of the DIAN TU. DIAN brings together different fields, different funders. You have public funders, private funders, philanthropy, people working together with a common goal, that it's bring therapies to these families. So that's beautiful. We are working on the MRI, the physicians.
These partnerships form a critical infrastructure, a public-private partnership of government, pharmaceutical, philanthropic, and research support, all working together to fight Alzheimer's.
Public-private partnerships have begun to really demonstrate how we advance science through collaborative approaches. It's about knowledge, and it's about bringing together all of the stakeholders that actually provide a point of view and scientific advice to programs like DIAN and others.
Since 2012, the DIAN TU has been leading an adaptive trials platform to assess how different treatments work to treat individuals who carry one of the gene mutations, but are otherwise healthy.
Our ultimate goal is to try to prevent Alzheimer's disease. To get there, it takes several steps, and that's why the trial was designed as a platform. So we're using multiple different drugs, sometimes in parallel, sequentially, and sometimes together. So any single drug or single drug arm may or may not succeed, but the overall platform is built to keep going until we find that answer.
Researchers with DIAN's observational study monitor how the disease progresses over time.
We began studying them with these PET scans and with these spinal fluid assays. And we found that the changes might take 20 years or more of building up in the brain before it causes enough damage that dementia occurs. This was very important because it gives us a window of opportunity to possibly prevent Alzheimer's disease.
The DIAN TU's first trials, which concluded in 2020, tested anti-amyloid treatments in the Alzheimer's brain. Abnormal levels of this naturally occurring protein clump together to form plaques that collect between neurons and disrupt cell function. Those trials unlocked a world of knowledge about DIAD and Alzheimer's, and how the team might treat it.
At that time, we discovered that one of the drugs had a biological impact on the disease. It substantially removed plaques out of the brain. It also reversed several of our markers that we use to track Alzheimer's disease.
The trials platform has since expanded and developed several new trial designs for DIAD. As with the previous trials, the new trials will test different classes of drugs with different targets. These include secondary prevention trials, which are designed to slow, stop, and reverse disease progression in patients who have plaques in the brain, but may or may not have symptoms.
We've just launched the Tau Next Gen trial, which combines anti-tau drugs with anti-amyloid drugs at the same time in the same person.
The team is also exploring whether they can prevent the onset of the disease in young patients with a primary prevention trial.
So when we talk about primary prevention, we're talking about the ability to see and predict when amyloid plaques develop in the brain and to try to prevent those from happening. It provides us with this unique window for intervention.
With each new phase of research, the DIAN TU builds on what they've learned. While their thinking continues to evolve, they have only one aim in mind: finding a way to treat and prevent DIAD, and potentially all forms of Alzheimer's.
These families are absolutely committed to finding the causes and ultimately the therapies, because they know the high risk that each individual has of carrying the mutation, but they're even more committed to helping the next generation, their children.
Our ultimate goal is to try to prevent Alzheimer's disease in these families, and in that way show the world how we can proceed to prevent Alzheimer's.
Learn more about the DIAN TU and join the DIAN Expanded Registry of Families. Visit dian.wusu.edu.